So, if you have finished the activities for Module 3.1 with the videos that explain how to complete them, then you need to take a look at the written module activity for this unit in order to understand the theoretical point for the practical. Now, everything that we're going to learn through scenarios. So, scenario 1, the mom complains that while she was editing a Word document, some funny red underlining and other stuff started appearing as shown in the document. It will then say the meeting can only be scheduled once all stakeholders have had their A chance to review all the necessary documentation. Now, in the document, you'll see red underlining and red strike-throughs, and we need to name these, give a name for the feature that causes these, and explain what that feature is used for. So, the annotations that appear because of tracked changes, which is the feature that is turned on in Word document that causes this. What track changes is, it is a reviewing tool in Microsoft Word that will allow the users to record all the edits made to the document. Track changes is primarily used for collaborative editing, meaning that if you have multiple people working on one document, they can look at all of the edits made through track changes. This will enable the original author or the person reviewing it last to see all modifications done and decide whether they would like to accept or reject them in the end. So this question teaches us the definition for track changes as well as its purpose. For question 2, we're given the scenario, your father received a document from his secretary with a number of track changes in it, and he wondered why she did not just make the changes by adding comments. We need to explain why it might be better to make the use of track changes and not comments by specifically referring to the difference in the function of these two word reviewing features. So to get the marks here, you need to first explain what track changes is and then explain what comments are. After you've explained what they are and gave the definition, you can then explain the difference between the two and why it would be better to use track changes instead of the comments as suggested. So firstly, track changes is to show the actual editing modifications done in the document's content. It will record any insertion, deletion, or formatting change. Comments, on the other hand, is there to add explanatory notes. We can also add questions or suggestions into comments. The main thing is that they are not part of the document's content. They don't alter any of the text. Instead, it is an external part of the document that can be used for feedback. So these do not need to be accepted or rejected. They are simply there as side comments. Now, if the secretary wanted to change words, sentences, or even formatting, then track changes would provide the clear record of those proposed changes that their father can then later on accept or reject. If the secretary had used comments, then the father would have to manually implement every suggested change because there are no options to accept or reject suggestions made in comments. Now, this causes low efficiency and low accuracy, which will then cause more errors. Comments are in the end are better for discussing the content of structure if there are not changes that you actually want to make. But in this case, it is better to use track changes so that your father can go and accept or reject them and keep their accuracy. In our third scenario, we are asked what are the 3 types of changes that will be tracked or flagged by the track changes feature of Word when we edit a document with this feature activated. Now, they love to give long questions like these. This is simply asking us, what are the 3 types of changes that will be tracked by track changes? And we only have three that you need to know in grade 12. The first one is the insertion. That is when you insert new text or objects into the document. And it will typically be shown as a red underline, or the color actually changes according to how many people there are. Default, it's red. Then the next type of change is the deletion. And this is when text or objects are deleted or removed from the document, which will be shown as a strike through. The last one is then the formatting changes. And this is when we turn track changes on and modify the appearance of text paragraphs by using bold or italic and etc. These are then indicated as a separate bubble that is placed in the margin of the document. Or it can be placed as a change in the text itself. So if you've added bold to one of your track changes, then it would apply within the text itself. So very important that we understand that there are three types of track changes that can occur once turned on. In scenario 4, we have two of your friends, Amanda and Sibu. They separately reviewed one of your essays and used track changes, the track changes feature of Word to indicate their respective changes. You don't agree with any of Amanda's changes, but you agree with all of Sibu's changes. We need to come up with the quickest way that we can accept all of Sibu's changes and reject Amanda's changes. So let's look at these steps quickly. First, when working in track changes, we need to work in the Review tab. Under the Review tab will be the tracking group. And within that, you'll have a button that says Show Markup. This is a drop-down button that will give you some more options based off of track changes. When this drop-down occurs, you want to uncheck Amanda or Amanda's name under the specific people, also known as reviewers, potato option. When we uncheck Amanda's name, it will hide all of Amanda's changes from view. Still within the same drop-down selection, show markup, we are then going to make sure that Sibu's name is checked under specific people or reviewers. So uncheck Amanda and check Sibu. Now we go to the changes group, still under review. And in the changes group, we click the drop-down arrow next to accept and then choose to accept all changes shown. Since we hid Amanda's changes, it's only going to accept Sibu's visible changes. But this doesn't mean that Amanda's changes have been deleted. So we need to go back to show markup, uncheck Sibu, and then check Amanda's name again. Lastly, we go back to changes and then reject all of the changes shown by Amanda. Since we have unchecked Sibu's changes, it would not then delete his, only Amanda's. And this would be the quickest way to accept all and reject all changes from multiple collaborators. In our last scenario, a friend suggested that the best and quickest way to remove all track changes from a Word document is simply to choose the no markup option. Is it good advice? Yes or no? And motivate your answer. Now, no, this is not good advice. First, we get a mark for stating yes or no. No, it's not good advice. Choosing the no markup view option is only going to hide the display of the track changes. It's not actually going to remove any changes made. So the changes are still going to be present in the document's underlying data. If you were to save the document while you were not in no checkup, then it would send it to someone else, and they could easily switch it back to all markup again that will show all changes made. So no, not good advice, since no markup does not take the trail away, it simply just hides it. So in order to properly remove the track changes, you can only accept or reject them. You can accept and reject them all at once, or manually. But that is the only way that we can remove track changes made. Once all the track changes have been accepted or rejected, they will then be permanently incorporated into the document's text or permanently removed and no longer active for editing. And there we've got all the theoretical points needed to understand our track changes. Thank you.